Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from New York City. We're live and we're watching the WCS America round of 16 in the last match of the night, about to jump into what could potentially be the last game of the night. A game 2 between Nestea and Alicia, where if Alicia wins, he'll be on to the round of 8. Players are ready. I hit the start game button. The map is Belshir Vestige.
This is going to be a very interesting map. We saw an amazing game here between Alicia and Snoot, and I feel Alicia is very confident in his late game PvZ play, so he's definitely going to play that, poking her ass with gateway units, but really focusing on establishing at third base as soon as possible.
Pretty interesting game 1 in that I don't think it meant any player really had the, when you're going to a best of 3, as far as game 1, how much momentum it can lay going to the next games. I feel like Nestea just made a simple mistake there. And he shouldn't necessarily be down and out. Of course, the game is paused really quick. We'll be getting back there as fast as possible. But, I wouldn't count Nestea out by any means.
No way you can count Nestea out, man. This guy just won 2-0 over Ascend, showing amazing ZVZ play. His Mutas control is amazing. But the problem is, against a Protoss with that many Stargates, you have to do something else before you go Mutas.
Right.
You have to do something to force the Protoss not to make pure air, because pure Protoss air beats pure Zerg air every time. But of course, if you can force the Protoss to make Colossi, and, if you can show infestors, force them to make a Templar duel faster, show some speed and aggression, take control of the map, then you can maybe do your air switch later. But Nestea just, I feel on Whirlwind, he's like, okay, Whirlwind's an air map. I should stick with the airplay. Yeah. That was a downfall. But this is a map where he may be more confident playing a more conventional style.
Looks like we're going to have a quick remake here. Whirlwind, a massive map. So, cross positions, I'm not too surprised to see them both go for that air-oriented style. You have a lot of space to work with, a lot of predictability as far as scouting your opponent, seeing when they're coming across the map, and then, having enough time to deal with a response. Going into Belshir Vestige, what do you think are the most likely strategy choices from both of these two players?
I feel Alicia's going to keep doing the same build he's been doing, or some variation thereof, or a little bit of pressure with either a couple Stargate units, a couple Gateway units, or even some combination of the two. And then he's going to take a third base, and he's going to react to what he sees of the Zerg. If he sees Zerg getting Roaches Hydralisk, he's going to go Colossi. If he sees the Zerg not going Roaches or Hydralisk, he's going to keep massing a whole lot of air units. And this is a strategy that's very, very good. With Alicia's force field control, it's going to be very difficult to break him with Roach Hydra. And it's going to be very hard to catch him off guard with the mass Muta switch as well. I think the best way to counter this type of style Alicia's showing is the way Snoot was playing. Where, okay, if you're going to rely on Voiders in the mid-game, if I rush to Vipers and Hydralisk...
Sure.
Basically, if I rush to Hydralisk, you have to get those Colossi out. And as long as I rush to Vipers too, then that's a perfect counter to that composition, and I can take the engagements very well. But that's also a style that's not really Nestea's style. So it's like Alicia's built a PvZ design to break Nestea. Is Nestea going to change his style, or is he just going to win by force of will?
Guess we're going to find out. The countdown has begun in this remake of game number 2. Again, Alicia up 1-0. He is 1 win away from advancing to the round of 8 of WCS America. The map Belshir Vestige. Again, as you said, I think this is a map where anything can happen. A map characterized by securing the 4th and 5th bases. Where do you take it? How do you secure it? What kind of counterattacks are you going to see? Once you start taking those additional bases past 3, you start getting really spread out on both sides, which leaves those opportunities for those counterattacks. Warp Prison play is definitely potential. Hidden pylons here and there, but here we are in game number 2 of this oh-so-important match. The Nestea is your Zerg player in the top left-hand location, representing Team Incredible Miracle. A must-win game. You must win 2 in a row here. His opponent in the bottom right-hand location, the blue Protoss player representing Team Axiom. 1 win away from advancing to the round of 8. He is Alicia. Releasing a pylon in his main base.
Alicia loves those gateway openers, of course. The gateway openers allow you to get the warp gate so much faster. Disadvantage, no +1. So, the speedlings can actually beat Zealots if they can find where they are and catch them before the numbers get too high. But it hits so much faster that Zerg won't have as many speedlings. And we saw that happen in several of these games. that he shows up with 6-7 zealots, and there's only 13 speedings on the map. Or it's really 6-7 zealots. You know, you want closer to 30 speedings on the map. And he's able to take down that third base. Let's see if he can do that again on Belcher.
Quick plug to our dedicated observer, a giant smurf he's known by as on Reddit. Some people may recognize that. Great work today.
Nestea going hatchery first. You know, it's interesting. He used a drone scout because he must really want to use hatchery first against a gateway opening, which most Zergs agree is the most optimal opening. But on a map like this, your Overlord can't, I mean, well, actually on pretty much any map, your Overlord won't cross the map before you decide to go hatch first or pool first. So using the drone scout to let him know what type of opening he wanted to do.
Yeah, no, very safe indeed. Adding on that gas right away, again, identifying the gateway opening from his opponent.
This right here is, in fact, one of the scariest openings to play against as a Protoss doing a gateway opener, the hatch gas pool. Because this opening combines fast speedlings with double queen, double hatchery production. And you have to be so on top of scouting, and it's very difficult to scout. The Zerg can potentially have about 30 speedings at your base way before you really have that many units. And you have to basically know if they're going to do that or not and start chrono boosting units out instead of warp gate. It's a very, very tough build to face off against, but Alicia is a player who so far has never been caught off guard in any of his matches by anything his opponents have done. So he's always been on top of perfect reads, perfect counter builds, unit compositions, countering his opponent. And as long as he continues that trend, he won't have to worry too much. And Nestea is a player, he's already down 0-1. Is he going to risk it all on some speeding on? I don't think so.
Yeah, I've seen people do it. Gosh, I'm thinking of a match.
He's keeping a drone on gas, by the way.
Is he? Interesting. What are you up to, Nestea? Of course, now's the obligatory time where we look for that probe. And we see it there at the middle left-hand location. Overlord dangerously close, but of course he hasn't seen that.
You know, this is in a different spot than he hit it on this map before when he's playing Snoot. So he must have like a list of like, he like has 6 spots where he hides a probe and he rolls a die before each game. It's like, okay, this is the spot we'll put it in. And that way, you know, if you put it in the same spot every game, of course your opponent's just going to look there. So it's always good to have a,
Will we go to the left or right side of the sky? Oh.
Did he do? Yeah, he did. He did.
Nice spot there from Nestea. That probe might fall off the cliff there. No, he's going to start running away. Can he make it home before speed kicks in? I don't think he wants to go home. He's going to scout the other third of his opponent to find out what's going on.
That's very smart.
Yeah.
Of course, if Nestea went speeding into taking drones off gas once he had 100 gas, he's not going to get to see a third.
The probe got taken out there.
That's actually a big deal because at this point you almost normally just kind of assume they took the third base.
Militia, of course, heading straight there.
So he's going to spot it.
Yep.
But it's a little bit later.
I wonder if Nestea's just going for a fast +1 off of a Evo chamber.
He's just, I mean, he's taking a third slightly later than normal to get more Zerglings out early to try to catch, you know, any pylons. In fact, he's got the one on the right side as well. Beautiful play by Nestea in catching these pylons. And also, it looks like he wants to tackle lair a little faster. The 630 lair, or maybe go double Evo. You could be right. I feel like Nestea's a player who'd rather go lair than double Evo.
Alicia trying to get this pylon down, getting targeted down. 3 zealots warping in, but the pylon falls.
That's big.
Nestea's going to be very happy that that's happening. These 3 zealots are essentially stranded and probably begging the Mothership Corps to recall them back home because they're shivering in their boots. There's Zerg afoot.
But the Mothership Corps has more important things to do.
It's like, I'm out of here.
It's going to ditch those zealots and try to poke and see, because he still doesn't know if Nestea has a third or not. And that's something that's very important. Nestea now going lair.
Yeah. Mothership Corps
and I'd imagine he's put all the drones back on gas now.
So I think Alicia's going for that 3 Void Ray thing again, where he keeps those with the Mothership Corps and tries to see what kind of damage he can do, researching that +1 weapons upgrade. Mothership Corps has to be careful near these queens. They can be a little bit pesky. You don't want to lose any of that core health. Of course, it's fine, excuse the pun, it's fine to lose some of those shields, but once you start losing some of that green stuff, it's not that fun.
Nestea again setting the speedings out to check on any potential new pylons that have been built, and he has Overlord to check on the left side, and the speedings checking on the right side. Of course, seeing the Void Rays, he can kind of now know probably what's going on. And Alicia, again, now that he's, you know, he tried some pressure with the gateway. It was scouted out, so he's just going to go ahead and take his third base.
Yeah.
And this is a really cool build because he can take a third base but also he has a threat at the same time. And the threat isn't... The threat is the 3 Void Ray Mothership combination. And that can take down a third base of a Zerg very easily. We saw that happen, I mean, against Sen in dramatic fashion. In actually Game 1 and Game 3.
Yes.
So that's something Nestea has to watch out for. Nestea again going for the Spire. And this is kind of similar timing. These 3 Void Rays could come and hit right before the Mulus get out. But if they're not with the Mothership Core, of course, you have to be really quick on the recall. And will Nestea go for Corruptors like last game? Or will this game you say, no, let's go Mulus, or let's just go, you know, a few air units to hold off the first Void Rays and then transition to, you know, a more ground-based combination with Spellcaster support?
Might try to get an Overseer scout off to see if his opponent is adding on either a Robo or additional Stargates. Looks like Alicia is, in fact, adding on 2 additional Stargates, so definitely wants to stick with the heavy airplay. It's worked out for him so far in this series. No reason it can't work this time, too. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And now he's going directly towards his opponent's 4th base with 3 Voiders, and again, that Mothership Core. So Nestea, let's see if we can identify exactly what the follow-up is here from his opponent. And of course, let's see if he reacts differently to this 3 Voider Mothership Core aggression.
That 4th, of course, is going to have to be canceled. There's really no way around that. Not the horrible loss, making 4 more Queens. So going very Queen heavy, which of course is a great way to defend against Void Rays. But he still has to find a way to deal with them in the late game. You can't just make pure Queen. Maybe pure Queen with some Vipers might actually work, as long as you scale with upgrades with the Queens. You have to keep upgrading those Queens as well. But it's definitely, he can't stick with Corruptors for too long. Some Corruptor... Oh, no, the 4th hatchery!
Gotta cancel it!
You gotta cancel!
Almost deja vu. I remember he tried to remake it in the last game, and it died. Like, he wasn't able to cancel it. And he's going to retake a base on the left-hand side of the map.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
This is what you... If you can recognize the Protoss is probably going mass air, you can just mass expand. Because it takes several minutes to build up a giant air army. And in small numbers, even though, you know, Void Rays hard counter Corruptors, it's the fact that a Zerg can produce 10, 12 Corruptors in a second. Or, well, like, really 40 seconds. But whereas to produce a bunch of Void Rays takes several minutes.
And this is an interesting map in that, you know, remember on Whirlwind, if you start taking extra bases, they're kind of like much farther away from each other. So as a Zerg player playing defensively, it's much harder to defend those and, of course, get creep extended to those locations. However, here on Belshir Vestige, it's not as difficult. You know, the 2 bases aren't, those two extra bases aren't too far away from each other, especially when we're talking about, you know, Void Rays versus, you know, whatever the Zerg has, because Void Rays are going to take a while to go from each side of the map. So I think it's definitely doable to secure those locations. I would like to see Nestea add on plenty of static D at these additional bases in the form of Spore Crawlers, maybe even Spine Crawlers to deal with potential Zealot counterattacks to make sure that these stay secure. Because I feel like if Nestea can get these extra bases up, get those gases running, he's going to set himself up very nicely and perhaps focus on denying the 4th base of his opponent.
Nestea banking a lot of resources, no infestation pit. So he's not going to Hive tech, which means that a ground army is pretty much out of the question. Without Hive support in a later stage of the game, ground doesn't really work too well. So he's going to be looking to use combination of Corruptors and Mutalists similar to last game. Of course, last game he chose the pure Corruptor combination against almost pure Void Ray, and that didn't work out so well. But if he can convince Alicia that he's going pure Corruptor again, but then switch into like 30 Mutalists when there's not many Phoenix on the field, that could be a way. Oh, and he's getting Infestation Pit. But is it too late? Can he get Infestors out?
18 Mutas.
Oh, 18 Mutas could definitely... You know what? This is actually beautiful, because the Mutas will force Alicia to recall back. And then while Alicia's transitioning to add in more Phoenix, that's when...
Infestors.
Yeah, you can add in Infestors. So the question is, actually, is 18 Mutas enough? This is a lot of Void Rays.
Up to 25.
It may not be enough, actually.
Not a lot of static D here. The Voider is activating the Prismatic alignment. And Nestea is just going to abandon ship here at this base. Something he can kind of afford to do. Again, he has the base.
Mutas.
Oh, he did show the Mutas.
And yeah, he showed Mutas before he had enough to take out the army.
Yeah.
And an immediate reaction is going to be pure Phoenix production. Ideally, you'd not show the Mutas until you can force a recall, and then you're going to get 3 Void Rays when you recall out, just in the time. So, a little of a mistake there by Nestea, but he's going to go straight for the main base of Alicia.
He has to recall to the main and try to take down these Mutas. Of course, that might leave that 4th base on the left-hand side vulnerable. Alicia needs to make sure to keep that up. The Muta's tracking into the main base, spotting the Phoenixes. There's the immediate recall there from Alicia, and has enough energy to honestly recall back to any other bases that he wants to. So, you know, nice defense so far here from Alicia, and of course able to identify exactly the direction his opponent is going. But the Ling's sprinting toward that fourth base.
Is done for. This is the mobility a Zerg play. You can force recall to one base. It's very difficult to hold 4 bases against a Zerg using a mobility-based combo like Speedy Mulus. The one thing Nestea needs, though, he needs to get those infestors on the field before Alicia gets too many Phoenix.
Can he stop these Lings? It's going to be close. Wow.
Maybe he can.
Nestea forced to back away. He's going to attack straight towards that main. And again, you know, you're starting to have to decide, okay, do I recall back, or what do I leave back here to defend this base? I would leave back some Zealots and then perhaps recall back to the natural to defend off against these Mutas.
Oh, it's so difficult to keep up with Nestea's mobility plays. Probes are being massacred over there. The speeding counterattack is defended by the Void Rays, but with just Phoenix, okay, he recalls back, but it's too late. The Nexus goes down.
Oh, the Nexus falls, and Nestea able to take that out. Great play here from Nestea. Phoenix is a little bit caught off guard there, going to take out those Corruptors, but now they can track those Mutas across the map, and Nestea going to have to be careful turning around at the perfect moment to take down a couple more Phoenixes, but 3 more in production. Nestea also with Mutas and Corruptors in production, trying to time this perfectly as far as the Mutas are concerned, and Nestea doing a good job so far.
Alicia thinks he has a timing right now to end Nestea before Nestea's economy gets too out of control. Nestea making more and more Mutas. He's killed most of the Phoenix, but these Void Rays still are very well upgraded, and there's a lot of them. With Guardian Shield support.
Nestea just abandoning ship once again and probably going to send those drones across the map to that other base. Meanwhile, Nestea might attack to that middle left-hand location. There is a militia core in this composition, but it does not have enough energy for recall. These bases on the left-hand side are so vulnerable here for Alicia.
Which one will Nestea go for? It looks like he's going for the 3rd base, and then we have the 4th. It's easier to kill later down the road, and right now he can kill any base he wants. We're on a full, basically, base trade. Can Alicia afford to recall back? No, he's going to send the Phoenix back. While the Mothership Void Ray combo goes to kill more of Nestea's expansions.
Right now he can recall with the Mothership Core, but it's too late. The Nexus does end up falling. The Muta's doing a great job there. The Phoenix is trying to retreat back to deal with that. There are a good amount of Phoenixes on the field, and again, they have that +2 weapons upgrade. Meanwhile, leaving the Void Rays back on Nestea's side of the map to get that damage done. Lings and Mutas attacking into that 4th base of Alicia. The Phoenix is trying to get as much damage done as they can from the air, but Nestea has an overwhelming number of Mutas, but it looks like Alicia is going to be able to force that away.
Beautiful Phoenix macro to force Nestea back, and the Void Rays with Prismatic Alignment are just chewing through the Spore Cores. The Mutalists are zoned out by the Phoenix.
Oh, wow. Alicia doing a great job with this air force. However, Nestea able to secure this base on the middle left-hand location while the additional bases of Alicia have essentially been shut down. But the Void Rays, is there an answer to them? Nestea losing a few Mutas, a few Corruptors at a time. A little bit of miscontrol there. The unit's going to be engaged, and there are also some popping out of the eggs, which are going to die incredibly fast. And what a wonky game we have on our hands. Nestea looks like he wants to counter into the natural with those Lings, but it looks like Alicia is prepared with the wall there. There's a couple sentries and a Zealot, and now he's going to try to isolate this base on the left-hand side, but Nestea's going to try to make a stand.
Alicia feels he has to take this out. All his expansions have been denied except for the natural, which is low on minerals.
Oh, Prismatic Alignment. The Phoenix is trying to get that damage done to the Mutas. The Queen's trying to transfuse what they can from the ground, but does Alicia have too much? Supply is pretty darn even at this point in time. A very close battle. Indeed, Spore Crawler is doing a lot of damage from the ground, but all the Mutas getting shredded away by the Phoenixes, which leaves nothing left to deal with the Voyagers except for a few Spore Crawlers. All the Overlords going down. The drones are now completely vulnerable. Alicia taking down this 4th base, which means Nestea is going to be restricted to his main that isn't even mining or is barely mining.
Nestea attempting to counter with speedings, but Alicia able to defend this natural using the sentries so effectively. And now with Nestea,
he can just go to the main, can't he?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Nestea's basically done. He has 60 supply, but it's pretty much all drones. And it's all drones that are hanging out at the main, mining off of 2 mineral patches that are left there. So Nestea's going to try to counter one more time. But with Alicia 4 sentries back at home, he can continue to warp in more sentries as needed. In fact, he's just continuing to warp in sentry after sentry after sentry, knowing that his air force can't be stopped. He's just patrolling. Before he goes to the main, he's wanting to make sure there's no hidden expansions. So he's just checking all around the map.
Nestea trying again to shove into the natural expansion. Force fields are there, though. Honestly, I think he might be able to take down all those Lings with just lifting them.
He definitely could. Just checking around. He's just being cautious now. Wanting to make sure there's no proxy hatcheries. And Nestea's probably going to try to make one more expansion somewhere.
He's running his spore crawlers.
He's going to try to take his third base. He's going to send his spore crawlers back to the third, along with a new hatchery he's going to build there. And that's going to be his last stand, but it's going to be 4 spore crawlers versus like a billion void rays. Actually, no, they see the void rays.
And they're trying to desperately burrow in the ground, but the void rays are way too strong. 2 sentries here as well, able to help out. And this might be the end of Nestea in WCS America. Alicia coming straight for his opponent's main base with a bunch of Phoenixes, a bunch of void rays. He knows his opponent has no more bases, and Nestea left wondering what could have been. All the overlords are going to fall.
Poor guys. Wow. They were the last of the Zerg. They thought they were safe, peaceful civilian overlords.
I think the Ling's finally able to squeeze by into the natural, but
they're
stuck
in a bundle of force fields over there to natural. Great defense. And even massacring the drones too. All the civilians of the Zerg tribe being knotted. 1 supply versus 111.
There's the GG from Nestea. Well fought, but Nestea does fall, and Alicia takes game number 2 and the 2-0. Alicia, overwhelmed with happiness, able to advance to the round of 8 of WCS America, but it was not easy for him.
It really wasn't, you know. In that game too, Nestea really adjusted his strategy so well. The mobility to play with the Mulus was great against Alicia, and he even got the Infestation Pit to get the Infestors to counter Phoenix.
Yeah.
And then he just never got the Infestors, unfortunately. So, you know, Nestea plays a brilliant air game, but Alicia just, his air play, it was Protoss air. And Zerg air really needs that support.
Alicia with a subtle smile at the camera. Very happy indeed. Of course, we heard his interview going into that match against Nestea, very unsure of what to do, but he eventually prevails, perhaps due to the oh-so-important advice from a certain axeltoss.
That's right. Tell him to make Void Rays. He listened.
He did indeed.
Void Rays are very good.
All right, guys. I think we're going to jump to a break, and then we're going to have an interview with our winner, our second person to advance to the round of 8 from this group, which is Alicia. Guys, stay tuned. You're watching WCS America Round of 16. We'll be back with an interview after a quick break.